Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from the life you thought you wanted. I'm here to get you out, Valentina. You're leaving this house today. When Jessica said that at my front door, I broke down completely because I had been trapped in that life for 3 months. 3 months pretending everything was fine. 3 months dying inside. I was 35 years old and working as a store manager for a clothing retail chain when I realized I had become the eternal single girl of the group. You know, the one everyone kind of gives up trying to set up because it just doesn't seem like it's going to happen. I lived alone in a small rented apartment that I loved, had my independence, my routine. But I don't know, man, something was missing. My mom had passed away 3 years earlier, and that pain was still so raw. I remember in her last months at the hospital, she would hold my hand and say, "Honey, I wish so much I could see you happy, see you get married, have your children." And that kept hammering in my head, you know? My dad kept calling me, especially on Sundays when he was alone at home. "Sweetheart, when are you going to give me a grandchild? Your mother wanted so badly to see you in a white dress walking down the aisle." And that ate away at me inside, made me feel incomplete, like I wasn't good enough, like I had failed my mother, you know? All my friends had already gotten married or at least were in serious relationships. Jessica, my best friend since high school, had gotten engaged 6 months earlier. Carol already had 2 kids. Patricia was living with her boyfriend. And me? I was there, alone, coming home to an empty place every day after work, heating up meal prep containers, watching Netflix until I fell asleep. It wasn't a bad life, but it also wasn't what I had dreamed of, you know? It was at a company barbecue on a Friday in October that I remember to this day as if it were yesterday that I met Luis. He was a regional manager, came up to my city once a month to audit the stores. 35 years old, handsome in that polished way that looks like he just stepped out of a magazine, expensive cologne scent, an Invictus if I'm not mistaken, brand new car, a black Toyota Tacoma, always dressed business casual even on weekends. He walked up to me by the grill. I was grabbing a beef skewer, and he said with a gorgeous smile, "You're Valentina from the store on Central Avenue, right? Your store's numbers are impressive. You're the best manager in the region, you know that?" Girl, I melted right there. Felt my face get hot, my heart racing. A man who recognized my work? Who saw me beyond my appearance? Who knew my name? Knew about my performance? It seemed too good to be true. And it was. But I was too blind to see it. We talked all night at that barbecue. He was funny, smart, told stories about trips he had taken, talked about books he had read, asked about me with genuine interest, or at least that's what it seemed like. "And you, Valentina, what do you like to do in your free time? What are your dreams? Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?" Nobody had ever asked me these things with so much attention, you know? I felt seen, important, special. A week later, we were officially dating. He insisted on picking me up and taking me home every single day, even though he lived in another city 2 hours away. I would say, "Luis, you don't have to come every day, it's so far." And he would reply, "Babe, I insist. I want to make sure you got home safe, that you're secure. The world is too dangerous for a beautiful woman like you to be alone." At the time, I thought it was sweet, right? I thought it was care. He called 3 times a day to check on me, sent flowers to work with handwritten cards with romantic messages, took me to expensive restaurants where I had never set foot, the kind that have sommeliers and maitre d's. I felt special, you know, like finally someone saw me, valued me, treated me like a princess. My best friend, Jessica, said right in the second week when we met for coffee on a Saturday afternoon, "Valentina, don't you think it's weird that he wants to know where you are all the time? Yesterday you went to Target to grab some things, and he called 4 times in 40 minutes. That's not normal, Val." I laughed, kind of irritated, and responded defensively, "You're jealous, Jess. Finally, a real man showed up in my life. A man who values me, who cares about me, and you can't be happy for me. You're used to those mediocre guys you dated before Rodrigo." She went quiet, hurt by what I had said, but I saw the concern in her eyes. Today, I know she was right. I should have listened, should have paid attention to the screaming signs that were right in my face. The first changes started subtle, Like he would make comments about my clothes more and more frequently. "Isn't that neckline a little too low, babe? You're only mine. You don't need to get attention from other men. You're looking kinda trashy." Or when he started controlling my Instagram more intensely, would grab my phone while I was in the shower and scroll through photo by photo, comment by comment. "Delete that photo. You're showing too much leg. Look at how many guys liked it. Look at the comments. You don't need validation from strangers. You have me. I think you're the most beautiful woman in the world. Isn't that enough?" And God, I thought that was protective. Thought it was because he loved me too much. Because he was afraid of losing me to another guy. How stupid I was, right? Today I see those were screaming signs of abuse, of control, of sick possessiveness. But at the time I was so starved for affection, so desperate to be loved, so scared of the idea of being alone again, that I accepted everything, justified everything. He started making comments about my friends too. "Jessica doesn't like me. I can tell. She's filling your head against me, I'm sure of it. Single women don't like seeing their friends happy." Or, "Carol only talks about her kids, how boring." You don't need to waste time with people who don't add anything to your life. Little by little, I distanced myself from them, canceling plans, making up excuses, and they stopped inviting me too. 6 months later, on a Saturday night in April, he proposed to me at a romantic dinner at the beach. We went to Malibu. He rented an entire restaurant just for us. It was beautiful. There were candles everywhere, rose petals on the floor, live music playing our favorite songs. Everyone applauded when I said yes, trembling with emotion. There was even a hidden photographer capturing everything from multiple angles. The ring was gorgeous. White gold with a diamond that sparkled so bright it looked like a star. I cried so much. So very much. My dad cried when I gave him the news Sunday morning. I called him early. "Your mother would be so happy, sweetheart. So happy. Luis is a good man, hardworking, treats you like a princess. She's watching from heaven and she's happy. I'm sure of it." But I was already starting to feel more like property than like a princess, you know? There was something wrong. Something I couldn't name. But that left me with tightness in my chest. Then the pressure started for me to quit my job, and it wasn't all at once. It was gradual. First, he would say, "Babe, you work so hard. You come home so exhausted. I feel bad seeing you like this." Then, "When we get married, you won't need to kill yourself working anymore. I make good money. I can take care of both of us easily." And finally, "Babe, my wife isn't going to need to work. I make enough for both of us and you need to take care of our home, prepare our nest, dedicate yourself to being a good wife." My mother never worked outside the home, and my father always thanked her for it. At the time, I thought it was romantic, protective, thought he wanted to spare me from stress, give me a more peaceful life. Today, I know it was the first stage of complete and calculated isolation. Without my salary, I would be financially dependent on him. Without work, I would lose my social circle, my independence, my identity, my self-esteem. But I resigned in June, 2 months before the wedding, with a heavy heart. My boss, Marcelo, even tried to convince me to stay in an hour-long conversation in his office. "Valentina, you're the best manager I have. Your numbers are always the best. The team adores you. Are you absolutely sure about this? You worked so hard to get where you got." I said yes, that I was going to be a full-time wife now, that this was my dream. The wedding was in August, on a perfect summer Saturday at a country club outside the city. Over 200 guests, open bar, live band, 5-tier cake, everything I had dreamed of since I was a little girl. I wore a princess dress, strapless with a 6-foot train that 2 flower girls carried. My dad walked me down the aisle crying the entire way. The ceremony was beautiful, emotional. The priest talked about eternal love, about the sacred commitment of marriage. But when I said I do, I felt a chill run down my spine. A voice in my head screamed, "Run, Valentina! Run now while you still can." But I ignored it. I had already quit my job, already paid for everything. My dad was so happy. How could I back out? The honeymoon was in Cancun, Mexico, 1 week at a 5-star all-inclusive resort. And that's where the mask fell off completely for the first time. Violently. On the third day, we were at the resort pool. I was wearing a red bikini that I had bought specifically for the trip, excited to tan, to enjoy. A guy came up to ask for directions to the beach club. A simple question. He literally asked, "Excuse me, do you know where the beach club entrance is?" I answered naturally, politely, said I thought it was to the left of the main building, but I wasn't totally sure. When the guy left, Luis grabbed my arm so tight it left finger marks that turned purple the next day. He pulled me to the room with a grip that hurt like hell, threw me on the bed and said through clenched teeth, inches from my face, "Are you an idiot or just a slut? Can't go 5 minutes without flirting with other men? You're my wife now. You don't talk to other men. You don't even look at other men, understood?" I was in shock, trembling, crying, saying I was sorry even though I hadn't done anything wrong. That night, I cried in the bathroom while he slept peacefully in the king bed like nothing had happened. I looked at myself in the mirror, saw my red eyes, my bruised arm, and thought, what did I do? What did I get myself into? When we came back from the honeymoon, he had already moved my things to his house, a huge house in a gated community outside the city, one of those luxury condos with a golf course, tennis courts, clubhouse. My apartment had been cleaned out while we were traveling. All my furniture was donated or thrown away without me even being consulted. He said it was a surprise, that he wanted everything to be ready for us to start our new life together. But the house was an hour away from everything, from my friends, from my dad, from any place I knew. There was no bus, no subway nearby. I was completely isolated, completely dependent on him for everything. The control got worse fast, exponentially. He installed cameras inside the house, in every room except the bathrooms, said it was for security, to protect us from break-ins, checked my phone every single night when he got home from work, went through message by message, photo by photo, app by app. If I took more than 5 minutes to reply to his text during the day, he would call demanding to know what I was doing, who I was with, why I was ignoring him. I couldn't go out without his permission and without him. I couldn't see my friends, couldn't visit my dad without him being there controlling every word of every conversation. If my dad called when Luis was home, he would put it on speaker and stand right next to me listening to every word, gesturing for me to hurry up and end the call. I started finding long strands of blonde hair in our bed, on his clothes, in his car. I'm brunette. His phone was always face down, always on silent, always locked with a password he changed weekly. When he showered, he took the phone into the bathroom with him. Red flags everywhere, neon signs screaming that something was very, very wrong. But when I tried to confront him, he flipped everything on me. You're crazy, paranoid, insecure. I work all day to provide for you and this is the thanks I get? Accusations? You should be grateful, Valentina. Most women would kill to have what you have. A husband who provides everything, a big house, financial security. And I started believing him. Started thinking I really was going crazy. That the problem was me, my insecurity, my paranoia. 3 months into the marriage, on a cold, rainy Tuesday in November, I was alone at home as always and decided to clean his car because I didn't have anything else to do and I was going insane with boredom and loneliness. Under the passenger seat, almost hidden but not quite, I found a phone. An iPhone, not his main one. My heart started pounding. I knew I shouldn't look. Knew that if he found out I was dead, but I couldn't help it. I unlocked it. It didn't even have a password, probably because he thought it was well hidden enough. And what I found destroyed me completely, shattered me into a million pieces. Conversations with at least 5 different women, explicit photos, videos, plans to meet up, hotels booked, romantic messages saying he loved them. And the worst part, the absolute worst, was conversations with his mother, Doña Marcia. Messages where she said things like, that silly girl was an easy target, she was desperate for a husband. Or, she cleans, cooks, doesn't spend your money and doesn't complain. When you get tired of playing around, you already have a good mate at home. He responded with laughing emojis. They laughed at me together, the two of them, mother and son, making fun of me, of my pain, of my dreams, of everything I had given up for him. I sat on the cold garage floor and cried for hours. Silent tears, the kind that hurt your chest because you can't even breathe right. I felt dirty, used, stupid, pathetic. How did I not see this? How did I let it get this far? How did I become this woman, this doormat, this shell of who I used to be? But something broke inside me that day. Or maybe something was reborn. The Valentina who had been buried, suffocated, silenced for so long. I took photos of everything. Every message, every photo, every conversation. Sent everything to my own email from that phone, then deleted the sent messages and put the phone back exactly where I found it. I started planning my escape carefully. Started hiding money little by little. Taking a 20 here, a 20 there from the grocery money. Saved phone numbers of domestic violence shelters on a piece of paper hidden in a tampon box because I knew he would never look there. Started documenting everything in a notebook, dates, times, what he said, what he did, how he hurt me. Evidence. I needed evidence for when I got out. Because I was going to get out. I was going to survive this. It was Jessica who really saved me, who gave me the final push. She showed up at my door on a Saturday morning in December, a cold, rainy day, knocking insistently on the doorbell. Luis had traveled to Los Angeles on a Friday night, had said it was for a 3-day work conference, but I knew from the screenshots that it was a meetup with one of his mistresses, Camilla. I opened the door, scared it was him who had come back. But when I saw her there, with a worried face, I immediately broke down crying. I cried so much I thought I was going to throw up, going to pass out. She hugged me tight, held me while I shook all over and said firmly, "I knew it. I always knew something was very, very wrong. It's been 3 months since you responded to my messages, since you disappeared. I'm here to get you out, Valentina. You're leaving this house today. Right now. This isn't a request. It's an order." I responded, still crying, "Jess, I can't. I have nowhere to go, no money. I don't know how to start over. I'm so ashamed." She said, looking into my eyes, holding my face, "You're going to live with me until you get back on your feet? The apartment is big enough. And about money, you're going to sue this son of a bitch and take every penny he owes you for emotional damages, for everything he did to you. I know a lawyer who specializes in this, Dr. Renata. She's a shark." In 2 hours of rushing around, I packed my clothes in 3 big suitcases, all my documents, birth certificate, social security card, driver's license, my laptop with all the evidence I had religiously collected over the last 3 months. Got the notebook with detailed notes hidden at the bottom of the closet between the towels, grabbed some photos of my mom that I had kept, some jewelry that was hers, left everything he had given me, left a short letter on the kitchen table, wrote it shaking, "Luis, I know everything. Know about all the cheating, know about the conversations with your mother, know you never really loved me, that I was always just a trophy, a free housekeeper. I'm leaving, and there's no point looking for me. My lawyer will be in touch soon. Don't try to find me." I locked the door for the last time, left the key with the security guard at the front gate, and left that gated community for the last time, trembling but free, finally free. My dad was devastated when I told him on Sunday morning, when I was already settled in the guest room of Jessica's apartment. He cried a lot, really hard. "But honey, marriage is forever. It's a commitment to God. You two need to talk, work it out, get help from a pastor, from a couples therapist, from someone." I looked into his eyes, held his trembling hands firmly and said as strong as I could, "Dad, he hurt me physically on our honeymoon. Left my whole arm bruised purple. He cheated on me since before we got married. There are hundreds of conversations. He isolated me from everyone and turned me into a prisoner in my own home. I couldn't go out, couldn't see anyone. If Mom were alive, she would tell me to run as far away from him as possible. And that's exactly what I'm doing." My dad cried even more, hugged me tight and said, "Sweetheart, I didn't know any of that. Nothing at all. If I had known, I would have gotten you out of there sooner, at the first sign. Forgive me for not noticing, for being happy about this marriage. The next 6 months were the hardest of my entire life, harder even than grieving my mother." Luis didn't accept the separation at all. didn't accept that I had left. He stalked me constantly, would wait outside Jessica's building at dawn when she left for work, showed up at her workplace in the middle of the day looking for me, making a scene in the parking lot, shouting my name. Had Doña Marcia, his mother, call me 10 times a day crying, being dramatic saying that he was lovesick, that he had tried to kill himself by taking pills, that I was the only one who could save him, that I was cruel, that I had no heart. Sent flowers to Jessica's apartment 3 times a week with cards that said, "I've changed. I swear I've changed. Come home. I love you. You're my life." But I didn't fall for it anymore. Had to get a restraining order in January with the help of the lawyer. Had to change my phone number 3 times. 3 times because he managed to find it out somehow and would call at dawn. 2, 3 in the morning, sending threatening messages saying he was going to destroy me, then apology messages saying he loved me, then threatening ones again in a sick cycle. I started therapy twice a week, every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. with Dr. Fernanda, a psychologist specialized in domestic violence and psychological abuse that Dr. Renata, my lawyer, recommended. The sessions were hard, very, very hard. I had no idea it was going to be so difficult. I cried every entire session, from beginning to end, went through a box of tissues per session. Dr. Fernanda made me understand that I hadn't been weak, that I had been manipulated by a narcissist who was an expert at choosing vulnerable victims, that my unresolved grief over my mother, my low self-esteem, my need for approval had been exploited by someone who knew exactly what he was doing. In March, I started looking for a job. Got an interview for manager at a cosmetics chain. The owner, Sonia, hired me on the spot. I went through this 20 years ago. You're going to work here and you're going to rebuild yourself. I rented a small apartment in April, a studio, but it was mine. On the first day, I lay down on the empty floor and cried with relief. Bought every piece of furniture with my salary, chose every detail. Started taking dance classes again, going out with friends, adopted a kitten named Luna. The divorce was finalized in August. He paid compensation for emotional damages, $40,000. I used half to take a course I had always wanted. The other half I gave to my dad to renovate the house and pay off debts from the wedding. Blocked him and his entire family on everything. Today, 2 years later, I have my life back. I'm a manager of 3 stores. I have my apartment, my kitten, my friends. I continue in therapy because healing is a continuous process. Last month, I traveled alone for the first time. Went to Sedona, Arizona. At a waterfall, I cried when I realized I could go wherever I wanted, wear whatever I wanted, talk to whoever I wanted. I could be myself again. If you identified with my story, pay attention to the signs. Control is not love. Excessive jealousy is not love. Isolation is not protection. You deserve more. I know it's hard to leave, that it seems impossible to start over. But I promise you, on the other side, there's life again. You are stronger than you think. If this story touched you, leave your like, share it to help other women. We'll see each other in the next video. From which city are you watching? Leave it in the comments.